Have you ever come across a Marvel Legends figure that you think is just awesome, but it just doesn't seem to get the amount of love you think it deserves? You buy it, you get it home, you bust that puppy open, and wow, it's great! Great likeness, great paint, great articulation, great everything. And yet, you don't see much buzz about it on the big social media accounts or in the Marvel Legends forums or Facebook groups like my personal favorite, the MLC group, which is great. If you're not in there, you should be. Today, though, we're going to rectify this lack of attention because we're counting down the top 10 most underappreciated, undervalued, and underrated Marvel Legends figures of all time. And it starts right now. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Nerdzoic. If it's your first time here, my name's Matt, also called Big Nerdy, and this is Nerdzoic, a channel dedicated to toys, nerdiness, and whatever other nerdy crap I decide to talk about on a given day. Today's nerdy crap is going to be action figures, specifically underappreciated Marvel Legends. It's weird because some figures get all sorts of undeserved love and praise. Seriously, people just come out of the woodwork and just ooze their praise all over it, just ooze. But others, like Rodney Dangerfield, they get no respect, and that guy even created hell.
You know, I was the one who created hell.
I know that's your hatefulness.
But actually, the credit for starting hell belongs to my first wife, you know? She was the inspiration.
Figures that don't get no respect, they're getting their respect today. Rodney Dangerfield style. But first, we need some background and some rules. So I conducted a survey a few months back and I got over 150 responses telling me the most overrated and the most underrated figures. I compiled those results and came up with this top 10. Unlike the overrated list, this one I completely agree with. I don't think that there's one figure I disagree with, so as we go through this, I'll make some notes as to whether I think this should be higher on the list or lower on the list, but in the end, this is voted by you guys. Are you ready?
Let's do it, eh?
Let's do it! We start off with some honorable mentions. First, DEATHLOK. For those of you who don't know, this is what Deadpool's actually based off of. Next up, we have Death's Head, which is a Guardians of the Galaxy figure that looks like the love child between Apocalypse and a Brood Queen with a little bit of Beta Ray Bill thrown in. And our last honorable mention is the Cyclops in the Love Triangle 3-pack, but let's just say the whole 3-pack because it was pretty awesome. And then my pick for most underrated, and this is probably just my pick, and that is the Netflix Punisher. You guys all know I'm a complete mark for this series, so you know I had to put this in here, even though the face doesn't really look like Jon Bernthal. If it wasn't for all the Punisher hate going on right now, I'd be saying, hey, where's my new Punisher figure in 2021? But it's not happening. That's all the honorable mentions. Let's move on to number 10. Coming in at number 10 is SUNFIRE, released in 2020, part of the Sugarman Build-A-Figure wave. You can pick this guy up for a little bit under retail if you look hard enough. SUNFIRE first appeared in X-Men 64 in 1970, and he has a long history having been a member of the Big Hero 6, the X-Men, and was once a Horseman of the Apocalypse, which makes total sense since he's coming out in an Age of Apocalypse wave. This is a really cool looking figure, and this is one of the few that were hard to find for this entire wave, but I mean, let's face it, the wave's been kind of peg warmers, especially Dark Beast and the Weapon X. This one was a little bit harder to find, but like I said, you can still pick them up for about retail. As this gets cleared off shelves, expect it to be really sought after in the future, so if you have a chance to pick it up, I highly recommend you do. Coming in at number 9 is Angela. Released in 2017, this was part of the Titus Build-A-Figure wave, and you can currently pick it up for about $31. To be honest with you, I have mixed feelings on this one. So here's the deal. Angela was originally created by Todd McFarlane and Neil Gaiman back in the early 90s and first appeared in Spawn number 9 as like an angel bounty hunter person. I don't know, I didn't read Spawn. Anyway, there was a legal suit between McFarlane, who was the artist, and Gaiman, who was the writer. Neil Gaiman won, and when he came over to Marvel, he brought Angela with him. And I hate the fact that this is like a legal pawn, basically. Would she have come to Marvel if it wasn't just for the legal part? Like, it just doesn't really fit to me. I just don't get why we needed her in the Marvel Universe. But nonetheless, here she is. In the Marvel landscape, she became part of the Marvel Universe back in 2013, I believe it was, and she was pulled into the world during some multiverse-breaking shenanigans. The figure itself is really good. It's got a great sculpt. I specifically love the hair and face, and it just looks kind of awesome. But again, character, don't care for it. But I do think it's underrated because I think a lot of people feel like I do about this and just kind of feel dirty liking the character. But yeah, I hope she never comes to the MCU. Coming in at number 8 is 𝐀𝐓𝐓𝐑𝐈𝐁 from the 2018 Sasquatch Build-A-Figure wave. This one's not cheap and will cost you around $40 to pick up. 𝐀𝐓𝐓 is Nathaniel Summers, son of Scott Summers and a clone of Jean Grey. Nathan first appeared in Uncanny X-Men number 201 back in 1986, but we know him better as 𝐀𝐓𝐓, and he first appeared as 𝐀𝐓𝐓 in New Mutants 87 back in 1990. This Sasquatch wave was pretty underrated in general, and this is the second figure mentioned today because of the honorable mention DEATHLOK was also part of that wave. This is a great version of 𝐀𝐓𝐓. He's super buff. He's got a great head sculpt too with the scars, and he's got his telepathic eye thing going on. I love this figure. He's definitely underrated despite being up there in price. Coming in at number 7 is the Silver Centurion Iron Man. Released in 2020, this was a Walgreens exclusive, and you can currently pick it up right around retail price. The Silver Centurion armor is technically Tony's Mark 8 armor, and first appeared in Iron Man number 200 back in 1985. And as a fun little fact, it was actually mentioned in some way or another in all 3 of the MCU Iron Man films. This is a fan favorite sculpt, so it's kind of shocking it took us this long to get this version of Iron Man. It's not perfect, the silver looks great, but the red could be better as far as the paint goes, but it doesn't hurt it enough to really ding it. Overall, it's a great figure, and it's definitely underrated. Coming in at number 6 is the Silver Samurai, released in 2019 on an X-Men Retro card. You can find this well below retail for around $15 on the secondary market. The Silver Samurai actually first appeared in Daredevil number 111 back in 1974, which was pretty surprising to me. This is a super cool looking figure that's been knocked a lot for not having a removable helmet, but I don't know that really matters all that much because he looks great, so stop sleeping on it. 2 years later after release though, I can still walk into Best Buy and find about a half dozen of these. Before we go on to number 5, if you're enjoying this video, please go ahead and punch the like button, or go ahead and smash down below in the comments and let me know why you don't like it. Coming in at number 5 is the movie Mystique, released just this year in 2020. This is part of the Fox X-Men 20th Anniversary wave, and you can find her pretty much anywhere below retail, well below retail in fact, currently around $15 if you look hard enough. So this figure is based off of the Rebecca Romijn Stamos version of Mystique from the movies, and that might be why I like it, because I kinda like her a lot. She's pretty awesome. I'm not sure if this suffered from the female figure syndrome, but it really didn't move that much upon release, and it's still sitting on the pegs at my local Target. Nonetheless, pick it up, because it's underrated. Coming in at number 4 is Domino from the Fox movie series released in 2020, and you can also find her well below retail, just like Mystique, for around $15. This version of Domino is from the Deadpool 2 movie, and she was really good in that, so I'm kind of surprised that this one did not get the appreciation deserved. And not only did it not get appreciation, it's a peg warmer. It blows my mind, because how can you not appreciate a figure that not only comes with 2 Uzis, but it comes with 2 Uzis with knives attached? Coming in at number 3 is Hercules from the 2019 Endgame Thanos Build-A-Figure wave. Even though Hercules is underappreciated, he's certainly not undervalued, because if you want to pick him up, he's going to cost you right around $38. So yeah, this one's not cheap. Much like Thor, Hercules was adopted from ancient lore and made into the Marvel Universe. His first appearance in Marvel was in Journey into Mystery #1 back in 1965. He's yet to appear in the MCU, but he's a pretty major player in the comic books as a member of the Avengers. This Hercules is based on the modern comic book version of Hercules, and he looks pretty darn good. He's bulky, but not overly bulky, and I love his half smile he's got going on in the face sculpt. Okay, it's time for the top 2, but I gotta say, the top 2 are in the top 2 by a wide margin. Like a really wide margin, especially number 1. Let's go to number 2. Coming in at number 2 is Maverick, released in 2020 as part of the Strong Guy Build-A-Figure wave. You can pick him up right around retail or even slightly under if you look hard enough. First appearing in X-Men number 5 back in 1992, Maverick is a mutant that absorbs the force of enemy attacks, converting them into blasts of power. That is a very convenient mutation. This is a great example of how a cool character design can make a really cool figure. I know very little about this character except for the fact that a Mel Gibson movie was based on him back in the 90s. That's the same Maverick, right? Alright, who's number 1? You ready to find out? Let's do it. Coming in at number 1 is Daredevil from the 2020 Retro Spider-Man wave, and shockingly, you can pick him up for about $14. This is very unlike every other Daredevil version we're used to getting, and this armored version looks awesome. Voted in the first place by a wide margin, you have to ask yourself, How's he so darn cheap? Now that we're done talking about the underrated Marvel Legends, go check out this video here and prepare to get pissed off as you learn about the overrated Marvel Legends figures. Till next time, be cool, stay nerdy. Later.